back to another stream on Fancy Football Scout. Today we're going to look at my Game Week 32 team if it's not going too great, and we're going to look forward to double Game Week 33. Today, as usual, I'm joined by Gianni Battici. How are we keeping?
Yeah, man, I'm very well. Nice to everyone on Monday morning for those listening on podcast, maybe a little bit later. But yeah, it was an eventful game week so far. We've still, of course, got a little bit to go with Sunday late game, but also Monday and Wednesday games. But yeah, all good. I guess the headlines for many will be, well, whatever happens with Newcastle and Palace in the double, there is still so much to go in this game week because so many are invested on how Glasner or six of those players across those two teams. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the game week.
Yeah, straight into it, Gianni, because we're starting a small bit late. I've got my team in front of you for this game week. Let me just adjust the audio a small bit. Hopefully it's okay. But currently on 28 points, a small little red arrow. Of course, I've got my triple captain active currently. I rolled my transfer last game week. We're currently sitting at 230k overall. And I've got triple Newcastle to play and triple Palace yet to play again. So, like I said, the armband is on Isaac. Anthony Gordon did make the squad for the game at 4:30, which starts in around 28 minutes, which I'm sure we'll all be there watching.
Mate, how are you feeling about that triple cap? Well, actually, no, let's not talk too much about triple captaincy because so many will be watching this and listening to it after the event. So I guess we shouldn't dwell too much on Newcastle. But I mean, the rest of the game week, like for your doublers, the Eze-Sarr goal combination was dreamy for you. When you see one get the assist and the other get the goal, you're like, yes. And then nearly Palace go 3-0 up, like they do, and then it's ruled out for offside. The automated offside, of course, was really good. And Eze didn't get the brace, but it was so close. And now he went off injured. We don't know if he's going to be available, I guess, for Wednesday.
Yeah, this seems to be a common occurrence, Gianni. It seems to happen all the time with him. I spoke about potentially making a mistake not going Mateta. And I did say it wasn't over yet because we still have a good few weeks with Sarr to see if it returns back in our favour. Because I don't think it was a necessarily wrong decision for the price. Sarr is much cheaper in comparison to Mateta. And of course, we see Mateta get an early sub as well, which was favourable for Sarr owners. So Eze was definitely nice to have. I feel like Eze out of the tree is probably the least owned. I could be wrong. Actually, I have the effective ownership there. And Eze is at 21% and Sarr is at around 46. So
wow. And Mateta must be higher than Sarr, I'd have thought, or similar. Probably higher.
Yeah, I would say Mateta is probably the highest out of the bunch. So definitely nice to have a bit of a differential return from Eze again.
Man, I'm just checking my team in live FPL because I've got Mateta. And in the top 10k, he's 85% owned EO because Lowe's captained him. I think around a couple of 100,000 triple captain Mateta. And at my rank, he's 63%. So yeah, you're right. Mateta's the highest owned. Similar to Manoz. Manoz is around 65% of my rank. So Manoz and Mateta, very little to split them. Then Sarr, then Eze. So you really were on the four, the one that was a bit of a differential. So game 2 is going to be so important for you because if he plays, you probably expect something. If he doesn't play, very easily could be overtaken by Sarr and Mateta. So you've got to think with Palace though, the FA Cup semi-final is still a couple of weeks away, but you don't need to risk Eze because he's so important to them. And that FA Cup semi-final is effectively their season, isn't it? Like that, unlike they could still get European football, but the FA Cup's massive and they need Eze fresh for that. So I don't know if he'll be risked on Wednesday. I'd be slightly worried if I was you.
Yeah, 100%. I am a tad, I'm not going to lie. Jenny, I'm intrigued. What was your advice going into the game week on whether or not people should play their triple captain this week and whether or not Mateta was a viable option if you weren't going with Isaac?
Yeah, mine was strong of the opinion all week. I've said, in fact, I said it to you last week as well. The best time for me is triple captain Isak 32. I think he beats the 33 and the 36 options. I did say all week as well, this isn't a week where I don't think we should be looking elsewhere. It's Isak or no one. I did say, however, if you weren't going Isak for whatever reason, you don't own or whatever, probably would be on Murphy or Mateta. Like, that's fine. But Isak was the standout. And we can see, like, at my rank and your rank, he's just off 200% EO, which means unless you've triple captained him, you don't really want him scoring goals. Like, You want him scoring goals. Of course, you've triple captained him. He's at 186 for me, so I benefit slightly if he scores points, but such a little amount in it, and it's a bit of a non-event. It's more who's getting the points around him, which matters for me in today's fixture.
Yeah, it can get quite annoying when that happens. Do you know when you own a player and you almost don't want them to do well, and you're left with 10 other players in a week like this where you probably only have 2 other Newcastle assets that everyone has, like the likes of a Murphy or a Burns/Livermento. But yeah, I'll definitely be rooting Isaac on. That'll be 120% in my favour, because I've got the triple captaincy armband on him. Gianni, my track record for triple captaincy is very, very poor. I'm not going to lie to you. So let's see if that can turn in my favour this week.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck. I feel like it will. I mean, mate, talking about captaincy, I saw Focal tweeted earlier some link to a third-party site, which was it works out how often you've gone against Mo Salah this season and what your points would be if you had set and forget Mo Salah versus your points with captaincy in total. And you should do this. Have a look at my tweets and you'll see it. And you can click on the link and do it when we're streaming, because I'm interested to know your result. The website for anyone watching is, I'll put it in the chat, but it's nevergetfancy.com. Pretty much, you search your team name in there, nevergetfancy.com, and it brings up your point to set and forget Salah and not effectively. And it's really cool. Like you and I reckon are both going to be on red arrows. I reckon both of us would have done better this season, set and forget Salah. Because pretty much the managers that have gone quite template are in green. They've done better by not set and forgetting Salah because they go Salah every week, other than 1 or 2 occasions when it's obvious not to go for him. The managers that bet against Salah a lot or bet against the obvious a lot, like you and I, have really been punished this year, mate. So I'm minus 27, which is so bad. And that's obviously just captaincy. What are you? And have you got the website and can you search your team? Because I'm really keen to know.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now. I don't want to bring up X just in case, as you know, anything dodgy comes up on the timeline. But I'm gonna bring it up now if I can find it. You said it was on your Twitter. Yeah, Jenny. I imagine
if you look at my tweet or Focal's, although Focal's more active, so his will be further down. Look at mine. I retweeted Focal. Click on the retweet of Focal. You get the link, but it's nevergetfancy.com. Let us know in the chat what your results are. Focal was -3. I'm minus 27. Ouch.
It says search for team, Jenny. Is that my team name?
Yeah. You can put in your chais, whatever you're calling it, will find you. It's really good.
I bet you I would be like somewhere near the top 100k. I'd like to think, surely.
Well, mine, if I had gone with like just par, I'd be I'd be in that 100k. So yeah, it really does matter. Michael is on minus 21. Peter's on minus 35. This just goes to show you bet against Salah and you really can be stung, especially this season. And I bet against him a lot earlier in the season, as did you.
I don't know why my team name just doesn't want to come up. Does the team number work?
Maybe. Give it a go if you know your idea off the top of your head. I don't. What is your team name?
Chai with an up arrow. It's like
Oh, that's probably why, isn't it? How many Chais are there? If I go Chai...
There looks to be like 10 different Chais. Chai FC.
You're not one of them.
It's don't seem to be one of them.
Thrown it.
Maybe
I don't even know where the up arrow is on my keyboard.
It should be on your number 6.
Yeah, I got it. Oh, man, that's annoying. Oh, can you put in your ID? Does that work?
No, that don't work either.
Damn.
I was kind of looking forward to seeing that as well.
No.
Genuinely, I went against Salah so many times this season.
Oh, you can also search by ID. What's your ID?
180.33.
Here we go. No, 180.33 is Alice in Wonderland, Ollie Banks.
Something fishy going on here. I mustn't be in the database. 180.33.
You can also search by name. What's your name? Dylan
Chai.
Yeah. Dylan FC or
No,
Delicious?
no,
DC Licious.
those two came up for me as well.
Oh mate, this is bad.
Yeah, they hit me.
Are you some like have you one of these people that's got like two teams and girlfriend's name and all that?
No,
Like it's
no, I promise I'm
have
not
we
a
just
crook.
have I just unearthed something here that you're
I
breaking
actually
FPL
didn't.
rules?
I actually wasn't in the top 10 last season. I made it up. Imagine.
Yeah, blagged your way through. Okay, well we'll try and bring you the results of Shies against Salah odds, but it's good to see so many in the chat. I've seen a few. Con God -64. You can put your ID in British 87. You've just got to click a different button to go search by ID. Anyway, where were we, mate?
We were talking about how I'd be in the top 10k if I just captained Salah this season, but other than that, we were talking about Newcastle. Speak to me about Onana. What did you make of him in general? Of course, two absolute howlers.
I loved his little online battle with Matic, former teammates, of course. Did they overlap? I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, it was always going to produce a howler. It did feel like that. So yeah, I think it's right. He's been brought out the firing line. The Man United number two, the Turkish guy, I can't remember his name. He played about a month ago. I remember watching a game about a month ago. He played really well. So yeah, let's see. It's going to be interesting. I mean, long term, you need to protect your asset, and either Anana needs to be sold or he needs to be starting games. I don't think United can just drop him out of nowhere consistently. He's also a really good footballer with his feet, but Man United don't really use that, and they've not really got the defenders to play out from the back. Well, maybe that's they have now, but when the likes of Maguire in the team, you do worry. So yeah, it's a bad combination. He's been really bad this season, Anana, but so have all United players. And at the moment, he's probably being scapegoated a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree. But do you think it is a confidence thing though, Johnny? Seeing him in that Champions League final versus City, it was unreal. To be fair.
True. Do you reckon? I often think the confidence thing matters most for goalkeepers and number nines. They're the two positions you go. It just feels like a confidence position for many. Now that's not every number nine and every goalkeeper, but they always feel like the most frail when confidence is low, and sometimes the most heroic when confidence is high. Do you get that? What positions do you pick out? Is it have I do you agree with that? Like nines and goalkeepers?
I was gonna say I did agree with it, but then I thought about it, and I don't think I do. I just think they're the two you see it the most, because goalkeepers you can see it because they make a
Yeah.
mistake. Strikers you see it because they don't score for a spell of games, but midfielders just get away with it because they're not necessarily on either end of that. But you probably do see it in all players, because players can have stinkers for a spell of games, and just because like it's not maybe not their job to score, you won't call them out for it. Where in comparison, you'd call out number nine for not doing it.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And the
Mate, are
first
we in?
player, sorry.
Oh, no, go on.
Oh, I was going to say the first player that came to mind was Ericsson when he doesn't play well, or when he wasn't playing well for Spurs. Like he was a confidence player, and when he was when he was good, he was phenomenal. But there were times where he went through spells, and I felt like he's not a number nine, and I always felt like he could be off the ball, and it'd be a confidence thing.
Yeah. God, I remember watching him at Spurs for ages and being like, you're amazing. Where are you going to go next type move? And then obviously he went into Inter and they had to sell him, didn't they? Because or they had to release him because after the incident at the Euros with his heart, Serie A rules stipulated something along the lines of he cannot play in the league off the back of what's happened to him, or the has he got a pacemaker fit? I can't remember, but whatever it was he literally couldn't play in Serie A. So I think they had to just release him, which was So then Brentford, did he go Brentford and then United, or was he United and then Brentford on loan or whatever? But yeah, it
Brentford,
was
yeah.
yeah, proper sad. Mate, are we in any of the same mini leagues? I'm trying to find your team. Give me your team ID again. Are you 100% sure you got that right?
Apparently, Nick is saying Chai is -61 on it.
Mate, that is wild if you are.
-61 is ridiculous.
How's he got that? Let's yeah, send us how's he found your team name? That's what I want to know.
I swear to God, Jan, it's literally just a Chai and an up arrow, capital C. I don't know if that makes a difference. I was trying to find it myself, but with the streaming setup, I can't pull up certain
Yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah. But your team ID, just give me that team ID again.
18033.
I got it.
I'm there, am I?
Oh, Jesus, mate. Is minus 61. Whoa. That's big.
Yeah. So does that mean if I had Captain Salah, I would have been 61 points up?
If you'd perma-captained him every single week, yes. And, and, and mate, to put that into perspective, there's a lot of content creators, including on the Scout Network, that are in plus, right? That are better off for not perma-captaining Salah because they've sometimes gone against him and he's done well. You and I have gone against him when he's clearly banged, right? So we're on negative. I've not seen another content creator on more negative. I've seen one. FPL Fran was on minus 30. I'm minus 27. But you've just blown us out the water with yours.
And you know what? I'm still in and around 200k. This is what I was saying. Like, with how bad the season has gone for me, I don't know how I'm still like not in the millions because like that's a great example. That right there, like.
Oh, mate, we've done loads of the same decisions. Like game week 11, we both captained Solanke for 2 points when Salah got like 12. We were in 24 versus 4. Like that's 20 points straight. And then all those Haaland weeks early on, you and I both did game week 6, 7, 8, 9. We went Haaland 4 weeks on the trot when Salah went big pretty much. So yeah, it gives you the breakdown week by week if you search by ID. So yeah, man, captaincy is clearly both of our weaknesses this season.
And that's exactly what my strong point was last season. I was getting away with absolute murder every single week. It was actually ridiculous, scandalous, like.
Yeah. Yeah. Your game week 26, you went Trossard for 2 when Salah got 12. And then game week 28, not long ago, again, Palmer got, I think, 1 and Salah 14 or something. So, like, a couple of big swings. Until recently, you and I were equally as bad. And then you've gone and done, like, the Trossard one and the Palmer one, which I didn't, I don't think. So, yeah, that's where we differentiate the like more recent times. But we both had that shocking run at the start of the season.
Yeah, it's almost like chasing losses. I just can't stop it. Like I'm just continuously
double down.
Yeah, tripling down, and then every single So let's see if Isaac can break that chain this week. Triple captaincy on him. Gianni, where else should we go? This game is kicking off in 10 minutes. What do you think the score is going to be?
I fancy Newcastle, man. I fancy Newcastle in both games as well. I don't. Palace were bad against. Palace were good in attack, but they're always quite good in attack, but bad defensively against Man City. Although Mark Gahey was a huge loss for them. Like, no Mark Gahey yesterday, he's suspended. So open. Man City were good value for 5 goals. So, yeah, it's going to be, I think, a good double game week for Newcastle, and I hope a good double game week for you with Isak.
Yeah, on that note, let's pull up my team for game week 33. My team is actually well set up, Gianni. 1 sec, I just need to fix the aspect. Okay. So in front of you, I've got my team. Now, I will be bench boosting in game week 33 for sure.
Oh, come on. There we go. The chips are out in force, mate.
Let me just restructure the team so it looks realistic on who I'd actually bench. The only issue, Gianni, I've currently got Ederson in place. It's not great. It's not good.
Did you hear an update on him?
No.
Did Pep say anything post-match? I mean, the Scout website usually gives us all that info, but I've not looked.
No, I've not gotten anything solid from what I've seen anyway. But he might be part of my plans, and let me run you through my team real quick. So on goal, I've got David Raya. It's a 4 at the back with Daniel Munoz, Saliba, Ruben Diaz, Konsa. 4 in middle of Eze, Saka, Palmer, and Sarr. 2 up top in Marmoush and Isak. On the bench, we've got Ederson, Gordon, Byrne, and Solanke. I've got 2 free transfers and 0 in the bank. I'm not going to tell you my moves for this week, Gianni. I want you to have a look at the team and tell me what you do first off.
Are you free hit 34?
I am.
So you don't have to keep your Newcastle players, right? Because Newcastle play Ipswich in 34, and because you're free hit and you can have them anyway. So I think if you're bench boosting, you'll be dropping Dan Burn. I don't think you should drop Gordon because I think, is Gordon on the bench today?
He is. He's in the squad.
Yeah. So, and you're going to see more minutes against Palace. I would be keeping I think I'd. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'd be dropping Gordon actually because it is Villa away. I think if I was you with two free transfers, I'd be selling Burn and Edison if he's out. But if you're using three, then yeah, possibly all three. I mean, the player that everyone's going to beeline for this week, if they don't own him, is going to be Bukayo Saka. They're going to see a double game week. They're probably going to see obvious captaincy. Like, yes, some will captain Marmoush, but others will be on Saka. They'll be the two big ones, Marmoush or Saka. You don't need to get to Saka. You've already got him. Other 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 double game weekers, will you get an ask? Will you go like an Odegaard in for Gordon? Maybe, I don't know. Where are you at?
So I've been caught up in the hype. I'm not gonna lie to you. If Ederson is out, because I already have Triple City, and by the way, just on Odegaard, I can't do it because I've
Oh
Triple
my
Arsenal.
God, De Bruyne, can you get there?
Yeah. So,
Can you
but
get
I
there?
was
I didn't think
thinking
you'd have money.
Palmer to De Bruyne and Ederson to, for example, a Martinez.
Yeah, of course. No, I get it. I wasn't looking at. I didn't think of Palmer going. Of course. Mate, I would love if I was on free hit 33, I'd go De Bruyne because I
Would you
think he
captain him?
start. But I don't know how I feel about going De Bruyne in my actual team longish term because I just don't know if we've only had a one game sample size, haven't we? If we were looking at this with two or three starts on the trot, we'd be like, yes, he's going to finish the season. They need him. And I think they do need him. And I think because they need fifth and they need Champions League football, I think he will be starting games. And they don't have Champions League distraction and loads of midweek fixtures. So I think it's a fairly sensible punt, I think.
Right? That's what I was thinking as well, alright? So he has the two fixtures in 33. I cannot tell you if he gets more than 120 minutes.
He's starting one for sure, but is he probably not starting the second, but maybe.
I'm free hitting in 34.
Yeah.
35, he might start, he might not. In 36, they potentially have a good chance of that double.
Yeah.
38, you'd expect him to play for a send-off. So there are 2 weeks in which I can be stung for him being benched, and then 1 week where he mightn't get both of the doubles. I mean, that doesn't sound too bad to me.
But game week 35 is a Friday night game. And it's the deadline on a Friday night. We will get leaks on that Friday, the 2nd of May, game week 35. You will know if De Bruyne is starting or not in game week 35, I expect. So that's quite nice. As in, you could bench him if you had to, worst case scenario. Game week 30, just beware though, the FA Cup semi-final is the weekend of game week 34. So yeah, you've got like 5 days between semi-final and game week 35. So again, that should be fine. Then you've got, I think, 7 days recovery or 8 days for the next fixture for game week 36. It's that double of 37. He might only play one. But game week 38 is away at Fulham. So maybe the send-off's already happened. So yeah, you're right. Game week 37 will be his last game at the Etihad. So he definitely starts 37, doesn't he, against Bournemouth?
Yeah, you'd like to hope so. I'd be very surprised if he didn't start that game.
Mate, I'm wildcarding in 34 or 5. I did a draft this morning with De Bruyne in. Like, I'm all for it.
Yeah, it's just some buzz, like, and you just feel like if he starts, he's gonna return. You know, he's that good, and I would just be so excited to own a player like him, especially in a double game week. I feel like when I look at the captaincies for 33, no one really stands out. Even Saka, I don't love it.
How much money did I've not even looked at the price of De Bruyne? How is he more or less than Palmer? Like I don't know. And Saka, where does he
He's less.
fit
He's
in
a
the
small
price?
bit less, I believe.
9.3. Okay. Well, Palmer's 10.7. Like, yeah, a ton of money.
Yeah, exactly. Gianni,
Oh
speaking about
mate,
captaincy,
I've got a spare City slot.
what have I done? Oh no.
I've got a spare City slot. I'm going Saka, I think, but De Bruyne's tempting. I probably can't go both, but
Or can you? It's a double game week.
yeah. I've got money to go both. It just means that I'm benching a doubler. I don't really want to bench or Isak.
Right.
Don't really want to bench Isak against Villa, but maybe I could just bench Isak.
No, that is interesting. Anyway, Gianni, that's the team. The team looks really well set up, in my opinion. Again, in hindsight, Gordon benched today, but he should be fine for that second fixture in this double game week. Ederson, who might be a doubt, I actually really don't know. Solanke, who's just been terrible at football. I mean, it's a bench booster, right? And on paper, it doesn't look bad, but when you give it a bit more context, I mean, it's not great.
Remind us of your moves then, Chai. You're thinking Palmer out, De Bruyne in. What were the other ones?
Ederson out if he's out, and Martinez in to free up the City spot.
So it'd just be 2 moves.
Yeah, I've got 2 moves in the bank.
You wouldn't take a 4-point hit to sell a burn for a doubler or a better fixture, Bradley.
I don't think there are any more doublers.
No, but you go Bradley.
Yeah, Bradley could be done all right.
Just Bradley's got the upside, hasn't he? Like he played 70 minutes today. He came off. Bradley owners got lucky with the early sub because Liverpool obviously had the clean sheet wipeout. But Bradley could have scored. He got 3 bonus points. The manager has said he's going to be playing, and you can't not play him now because Liverpool are going to buy a right back. They need to know if they're buying a first choice right back or a backup to Bradley. And Bradley needs a good 5, 6, 7 game run for Slot to learn that, I think, about him. So I expect Bradley to start the vast majority of games. That Trent might get a send-off game, but
Yeah, Bradley's one I looked at last week.
Me too. I'm annoyed he got 9 points today.
Yeah, it's always really annoying when you always suggest people and we never go there. And that's what we get a lot of slack for, but...
Well, you can only buy 1 player each week.
Exactly.
Your job as a content creator is to suggest and tip more than 1 player each week.
Yeah, that's fair, and that's why I need to make my 5 differentials for the week videos. They need to come back. Any other punts you'd be looking at, Gianni, with single game weeks display? I feel like everyone else is kind of obvious.
De Bruyne is such a nice pun and one to discuss. The other ones are, of course, you don't have Morgan Rogers, and when we look at the Aston Villa attack, Morgan Rogers is on the thumbnail. If you're buying a Villa attacker and you want 2 starts, it's Morgan, right? I don't think we can bank on Watkins or Rashford or Asensio getting 2 starts. I think we can on Rogers. I think Saturday teaches us that he can't go without Rogers. Everyone thought Rogers would be benched. I benched him in my team because I was like, he's surely not going to play versus Southampton. But boy, does he play. Like, Emery needs him on the pitch at all times by the looks of it.
What about a -4 for Gordon to Rogers, Palmer to De Bruyne, Ederson to Martinez? Does that work?
Yeah. I mean, does that give you a benching dilemma, though? Then you've got to bench Isak.
I'm bench boosting.
Oh, Christ, of course you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then your bench would be Isak, Burn, and Solanke.
And
not
Martinez. Bad. Yeah, that's not bad at all. That's much better than the current state of it.
Mate, I mean, a bench boost, even, let's say Burn gets 2, Isak gets 6, Solanke gets 6, 6, 12, that's 14, plus your goalkeeper on a double game week. Like, you'd expect 20 plus points from that.
And then -4. So, yeah, that's actually quite strong. And it probably does set me up better for game week 35, of course. I'm free hitting in 34. Because then I'd have Rogers rather than a Gordon. I don't know how I feel about whether I would like the Villa assets. Wait, they potentially have another double, so that would probably fare out in my favour.
Yeah, Villa should double in 36. If Man City double in 36, I think that's how it goes. So you get De Bruyne then in place for 35 when you get a Friday night deadline. So you're going to know if he starts. And then 36, you get a De Bruyne double where if you get 120 minutes, you're still happy.
And I get a Rogers double and a Martinez double.
Yeah.
Potentially. That actually seems quite nice. I like that.
It's punty. I mean, how do we feel about... Let's just go back to De Bruyne, because I think he's going to be on a lot of people's free hit teams. I don't think many like you and I will be looking at him unless you're on free hit, but you and I probably are both going to buy him. You are. I'm 50-50. I've not looked at it enough. But how do you feel about Man City versus Everton and Man City versus Villa? Because I think we could see 6 goals in those 2 fixtures.
Yeah, I definitely see goals in those games for sure.
So worth chasing.
Yeah, I
Mate, we
agree.
need to talk. We need to talk about Arsenal and Man City clean sheet wipeouts again. Arsenal in particular, because you had double Arsenal this week, and so many did. They are going through a lot of games where they just concede that one goal, and it's so frustrating for owners. But um, you know, it's a big loss in points when Arsenal concede one goal and you got double defence.
Yeah, no, it was really frustrating this week. I really had a benching dilemma on whether I wanted to start Konsa, Ruben Diaz, Raya, or Ederson. I originally had it as Raya and Konsa, and of course Arsenal conceded very late, so I was quite frustrated come the end of that. And then I ended up going starting Diaz and Raya, so I ended up with 3 points rather than the clean sheet from Konsa. But I'm happy going into this week. I'll have a bench boost and not have to worry about it. That's the one thing about having bench boost for the fixtures going forward. I'm gonna have a stacked bench, and I'm gonna make mistakes on benching dilemmas, but hopefully the bench boost makes up for it.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Are you you're 100% on your bench boost. You're definitely playing it. Even if Edison's out, it doesn't make you think, oh, should I hold off?
If Ederson's out, it makes it easier for me to bring in De Bruyne. It would make my decision for
Oh,
me.
true.
Yeah,
And if Edison's fit,
that's another thing. If Ederson's fit, I think I look at bringing in Rodgers for Gordon and move on a Burn potentially.
yeah, okay. Mate, we need to talk about captaincy because Saka versus Marmoush. I mean, let's put De Bruyne in the mix. I mean, that is a big minutes risk, but still, where's your head at with captaincy at the minute?
I feel like I'm defaulting to Marmouche. I haven't given it too much thought. For me, I
Mm.
think Marmouche makes the most sense, especially with Saka not being fully up to speed yet. Marmouche has been consistently there. I know we go into each game week thinking he's going to be benched, but he doesn't seem to be. So I think I'd still prefer to put it on Marmouche than a De Bruyne, just purely because I expect him to get more minutes still.
But I think Marmoush is, since he's been in the Premier League squad, like since he's been available to Pep in the Prem, I think he's only not started one game, possibly two, but like he's pretty consistent in terms of starts. So yeah, Marmoush is seems like a fair punt in terms of will he get two starts. The spread of fixtures for Man City, I'm just looking at the dates. Because I always like to look at this, obviously in double game weeks, but more so with Pep and Man City. Remember, there is no Champions League for Man City as there usually is at this point in the season. So they're used to playing twice a week. So it's no big deal to do Saturday, Tuesday, or Sunday, Wednesday. And it is for next week. They've got a full midweek now off. Saturday the 19th, 3 o'clock versus Everton. And then they play the Tuesday night at 8 p.m. So for those going De Bruyne, they might go, yeah, it will start versus Everton, but then the Aston Villa game, maybe it's De Bruyne benched. That is a real risk. But I think you know that if you're buying him. Like there is then enough time to the semi-final, though. The semi-final isn't until Sunday, the 27th of April. So the Tuesday, Sunday turnaround, you've still got 5 days there. So there is a world in which De Bruyne does start all three of those football matches. He just gets early subs, which again, I think you take.
Yeah, no. The more we speak about it, the more I'm tempted to just do it. Again, we're coming towards the end of the season. I'm a risky manager anyway. I feel like because where I'm at, I have no issue taking extra risk. You know what I mean?
Mm. I'm similar, and I know I've got a wild card to fall back on. So if my risk goes wrong, I've got an out. I get rid of De Bruyne in a heartbeat on wild card. For you, it's a little bit trickier, but you just use a transfer and you sell him. Like when you're chasing and you're at 2, 3, 400k, and you don't care if you finish at 150 or 250, you want to get a 5 digit rank, you want to get into 100k, you can take punts like that. So I think, yeah, you and I should probably just throw caution to the wind and do it.
Exactly. Even more than we already do. Um, Gianni, has this? Obviously, you've been around for many FPL seasons. I've been around for 7 or 8 seasons now, I believe. Has this season in particular taught you anything? Again, maybe things haven't quite gone your way, but have you learned anything in particular from this particular season?
Yeah, probably. I never worry about effective ownership, and I'm always happy to take it on. But this season has probably taught me early in the season, especially. consider EO with your decision making, and I don't think I really do. Game week 6 to 10, we just saw, just looking at your captaincy, but mine too. We went Haaland in those 4 or 5 weeks. Every one of those weeks, Salah banged big, and I didn't even own him. Now I'm still happy to back against EO with captaincy, and I'll continue to do that. And I still would do it again. I'd have captain Haaland, but I'd have made sure I at least owned Salah. That was my mistake. This year I went, no, do you know what? I'm going against Salah. It doesn't matter. I don't even own him. And he was banging big. It's damage limitation if you at least own him. So yeah, that was a big thing. I've made some bad choices, but I'll probably be back for more next season. In the last 13 seasons, with my risky approach, I've only finished outside the top 100k twice in 13 years. Playing the risky game I do, I'm fairly happy with that. But this year, I'm going to really struggle. I think it's going to be 3 seasons now out of 14 where I finished outside the top 100k. So I've really got to pull my finger out the last 5, 6, 7 weeks. And it's a big ask. I'm at 400k. It's been my worst season ever.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I need to take the finger out. This hasn't been my worst season ever, but I still think I can finish in the top 100k with the chips I've got left. Hopefully,
I think you can.
Yeah, for sure.
I think you can.
Actually, a few things to go my way. I think this season, for me, definitely using a bit more analytic approach for next season. Analytic approach, and the reason I say this, Gianni, is because I don't know if you know what's going on with AI in general, but it is getting to a point where it's quite ridiculous, and that is of course helping football in terms of predicting. And I'm doing a project on it in college, in university, where I'm actually making a model, and seeing it, all the features it's taken in, it's quite interesting. So I do think next season I'm going to be a bit different. The one thing that really annoyed me this season was, I'm a Maverick manager, and I always stick to my guns. But in the first 6 game weeks when Haaland was doing so well, I gave in on wildcard 6, and I would never do that. I brought him in, and then I captained him for 4 weeks, like I said. And that was just a really bad start to the season because I listened to too much noise that wasn't my own in my own head. So that was really frustrating for me. I think that's the one thing. It's just no matter what happens, I'm gonna back myself.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult as a content creator to block out all the noise. But you have to remember, where did you get to the point where you had a worldy season last year? You got there by playing your own game, and we have to always remember just to do that. And I've had periods where I started making content where it was like, my decisions, my outcomes, or my decisions were made slightly differently because I knew people were watching. It should be irrelevant. We've got to carry on playing the game that we get the most enjoyment in the way that we get the most enjoyment out of. And for me, that is still going to be about betting against the obvious and taking on EO. So, yeah, like you, I would probably like to take on analytics a little bit more. I don't take on analytics at all. I think the big site a lot of people use is called FPL Review. I can honestly say I've never in my life clicked onto it. I don't know what the URL is or the app is. I'm guessing it's FPL Review or FPLreview.org or something com. And I've got nothing wrong with people that use it. I think it's probably where more and more people will go towards, and it's clearly an awesome resource, and the world's best FPL managers use it. Personally, I just don't get enjoyment out of the game by an algorithm telling me who to pick. But of course, I should still consider those options and use third-party tools perhaps more. I don't use any third-party tools other than the Scout members area for a bit of XG data, and I need to take more of that on.
Absolutely, and I think that's a good way to end the stream. Speaking about next season, because this season, I think we're both more than happy to end it here. So thank you everyone for joining us for another stream on a Sunday. As usual, before you leave us, do us a favor and hit that like button. If you're tuning in a bit late or you're going to rewatch this, thank you for watching and supporting Gianni and I. And as usual, Gianni, any last words?
No, just an appeal really. If you haven't already liked, please do. And on your way out, obviously